Freaks and geeks of horror.
Welcome to the Freaks and Geeks of Horror. My name is Richie. This is Nick, Hillary, and Paolo.
So today we're going to be talking about a couple of things, but the first thing being the movie Terrifier. I think we're going to go a little bit into some of the other movies that Art the Clown was in. So that's one of the topics we're going to be tackling. I think the other one we're going to be trying to delve into a little bit is something that we all went to last weekend, which is at Universal Studios. We went to Haunted Horror Nights.
Halloween Horror Nights.
Halloween Horror Nights.
That's why I asked. What's it called?
We're glad you did it.
Fair enough. But so yeah, we'll be breaking down that a little bit. We got to go in quite a few of those houses. But I think what we're gonna do is kick it off and start with Terrifier and start with kind of what's become a cult classic. It was released in 2016, directed by Damien Leone and starring David Howard Thornton as the infamous Art the Clown. This character it became such a cult classic because I feel like for a number of years we haven't had a real slasher icon, that not since maybe Scream series.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I actually something that we were talking about earlier, like we feel that we needed this for a long time, and we felt the last one was Ghostface, and I feel that finally we found like the new horror villain, that I think we've been looking for. A lot of us, especially, with these new slasher movies. I feel, Art the Clown is the guy. He's the new generation. Michael Myers or Jason, or of course,
Even Freddy Krueger.
Ghostface, and now we have Art the Clown.
It's basically like the face of a new generation of serial killers. And not just that, but he's not just like he's not like It, where he'll rip your arm off or try to eat you. He'll saw you in half, use a gun. He's got a bed post with scalpels. I mean,
The weird little chain.
Yeah, it's unsettling to say the least.
No, it's cool that you brought up It because it's in comparison, he's almost like a polar opposite of Pennywise. He's in black and white as opposed to Pennywise being in total color. He's
doesn't have hair.
Totally
no
silent.
hair.
Yeah.
He uses nothing but weapons. He's all about the weapon game, whereas Pennywise is more of a psychological. I'm gonna trip you out and kill you in some weird way.
Yeah, he uses physical comedy instead of like telling one-liners the whole time, like mime comedy.
Yeah.
That's one thing that we're talking about. I feel I was asking. I'm like, is he a mime? You know what I'm saying? And I believe he is, right? That's what they're kind of talking about.
Yeah. One of the things I was kind of doing a little bit of research on is I listened to David Howard Thornton on the Chris Jericho podcast, and he was saying how he had a background as I think he was the understudy for a gentleman in off-Broadway production of How the Grinch Stole Christmas as a guy, and the guy that he was the understudy of was the guy that played the Grinch. He was that guy he was the understudy for 5 years. So you got to imagine if the Jim Carrey of Iceland is showing you how to, emote physically, obviously you're going to have a certain skill at that. And I think I can't imagine a better person to do it, really. He embodies the character so well. He becomes Art the Clown.
He mastered Art the Clown.
So good.
He honestly, when you have a special character like that, I feel like the perfect actor needs to be, and I feel that he was exactly what they needed for Art the Clown. Without him, I don't think Art the Clown would be what he is right now, and I feel because of the actor, it became Art the Clown. He is Art the Clown. I feel without him, it wouldn't have been the same.
Totally.
100%. When I guess when the first one came out, pre-Terrifier from All Hallows Night and the Ninth Circle, the short, they had this guy Mike Gianelli who was just a friend of Damien Leone, the director.
Right.
And he was just like, I'll do it because, I'll be in the makeup, but, I'm not an actor or whatever. So then when he started to do more serious, David Howard Thornton is he was the sixth person to audition, I think. And he got it because he mimed eating somebody's head and pouring salt on it. And the salt is what got him the part. I was like,
Totally.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember hearing that too. What a weird story.
Yeah.
And I remember
that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. Well, he was also saying how he was confused because when he went to go audition, there was no one else had a script. Or no, he was the only one that didn't have a script. Everyone had a script but him.
Oh, really?
So when he went to go in, he was like, "Hey, I'm sorry guys, I don't have a script." He's like, "No, you don't have any lines." And he was like, "Okay." So then he was like, "Okay, yeah." That's when he asked him like what you were talking about, like, "Hey, can you, in your audition, can you make up a kill? Just make up a kill on the spot." And that's what he did with the little salt shaker. I think that's such a cool little touch because it kind of brings a little humor and levity to it. Because as horrifying and like as violent as these movies are, they're almost so over the top that they almost broach into comic like territory to me.
Well, his face when he gets annoyed, he's all.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, gives him the finger.
Yeah, that side eye.
Yeah.
That Art the Clown side eye is just so beautiful.
Yeah.
So, which out of the both movies that we watched, and of course we have the All Hallows Eve as well, but which one was your guys' favorite? This is where it's gonna break us up a little bit right now.
Go ahead.
Oh, totally Terrifier 2. Terrifier 2 all the way.
Paolo?
Why do you like Terrifier 2 more?
Okay, I mean, personally, my preference is a horror movie with a decent plot. And Terrifier 2 not only had a pretty good plot, but it never quit. Like, there was no dead zones.
For sure.
It was entertaining from beginning to end. It was constantly unpredictable. And I think that's one of the things that I really like about Art the Clown as a character. Like, he is completely unpredictable. He breaks all the rules. And I think he just... Like, they just took it to the limit with the character in Terrifier 2. So that's my vote.
For me, Terrifier 1.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I feel... And there is not a crazy, like, storyline to it, right? But it does follow these two girls, right? Like, that's the story. And that's the story to it. It's not a crazy story, but it's just these two girls that are out partying on Halloween night. That's what the story is about, but the gore of it makes it what it is, right? That makes Art the Clown.
I think that even, you know what? It's a toss-up for me. I'm thinking it through again. So Terrifier 1, the fact that we don't really know anything about this guy almost makes it scarier.
Yeah, 100%.
He's a complete weirdo from out of nowhere. He's just walking down the street, right? Well, we see him kind of getting ready. It looks like he's preparing at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, correct. He's getting ready. He's
gearing up.
Yeah. So that in itself is like makes him feel more human, and Terrifier 2 makes him feel more like he's a demon creature, you know? So it's like that's the difference. It's like I feel that Terrifier 1 made him feel more like a person, like you know what I'm saying? So it's like it kind of gives him that mysterious, but you know, as it goes on, as the story goes on, he becomes more of this like Michael Myers kind of character because, and there is comparisons or whatever, but at the end of the day, it's like Michael Myers almost becomes like unkillable, you know what I'm saying? And I feel that that's what Terrifier slowly becomes, right? Like like the deeper the movie gets, the more crazier he becomes, and like the more like unstoppable he becomes in a way, if that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense. I don't know if this like happened for you guys. Maybe not so much because you just saw it, but when I saw the movie a few years ago, like right before part 2 was like coming out, I was watching it and I was like, oh yeah, like you were saying, he's humanized. And then at the very end, spoiler alert, all that wacky shit happens in the office, and obviously he's like coming back to life. It's supernatural and all that stuff. At that moment, I was like, oh, this is a franchise right here.
Yeah.
Like, they're never going to kill this motherfucker.
Yeah.
And in All Hallows Eve, it kind of gives us a little bit of foreshadowing that he's not going to be just a human being in the end. Like, he's a little bit Michael Myers and a little bit Freddy Krueger. Like, he's supernatural, but is he a human or is he a demon?
I feel there's a chance that he could have been basically like a human starting off and then slowly became a demon as he's slowly dying, right? Like he's slowly getting taken over by a demon or by the devil. And I feel that that's probably what became of the movie, because at first, like I said, he's dressing up, he's getting geared up. All Hallows Eve, he's actually like a human, correct? Like he's actually like, you can see his skin and stuff like that. So that might be a scenario that he's slowly becoming a demon as the movie goes on.
Yeah.
I like that theory. He does have a lot of supernatural abilities.
Yeah. Which is kind of cool because I feel like, with Nick's spoiler alert as far as the end of the movie, the whole scene where he wakes up, he kind of does a little Michael Myers wake up at the end, but it cracks me up because it almost seems like he's surprised that he came back. It almost seems like he didn't know that was going to happen, in contrast to like at the end of the second one. Another spoiler alert, but when Sienna, I think that's her name, Sienna goes to finally hack his head off, he welcomes it. He kind of offers his neck and is like, yeah, you know what? Go ahead. As if like he knows, like, I'll be back. Don't worry about it. Go ahead, get me. And of course, he's rebirthed in this weird scene. But
What do you guys think about that little clown girl?
I love her.
great.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
The pale girl.
yeah,
She's a good Robin to a Batman,
super cool. He winds up meeting her in the laundromat, kind of in between 1 and 2. I think it's like kind of the epilogue of 1 and like the prologue, where I get those mixed up. But either way, it's kind of like the end of 1 and the beginning of 2. He's evading the cops. He's washing his clothes at the laundromat, and I think that's when he first sees her.
Just reading the newspaper of the train crash.
Yeah. He's just laughing at it. What was interesting to me about that, and this always kind of brought up a question with me, is when he's playing patty cake with the little pale girl in the laundromat at the end of that kind of scene, there's another guy in the laundromat, and when it flashes to his POV, he doesn't see the girl.
No.
But then at the end of well, believe it was 2, when the little pale girl takes the head away,
They could see
everyone sees her. So I'm like, I'm kind of curious about how, if there's going to be a little answer for the pale girl or what the deal is there. You know what I mean? Because that's an interesting character.
Very, very interesting character.
It looks like she has like similar powers as Art. She basically has like the same makeup and gnarly teeth and like kind of like a little mini Art. So it is pretty cool that he has a little sidekick, and they're just she's all stoked on trying to trick Jonathan and Sienna in the whole movie. There's a few times where she transforms into the mom. So she's clearly just as twisted as him, just kind of in a different way.
So Nick, Paolo, which one do you guys like better?
Number 2.
Number 2? I was going to say number 2, but I'm kind of with Hillary in that I think the more I talk about 2 and the more I think about 1, it's kind of almost like a 1A, 1B to me. It's kind of like they're equal, kind of different, but like part of the same big story. So I still appreciate 1 for what it is. But I feel like if we're talking story and stuff like that, and like using a cool character to tell a cool story, I think 2 does it. It solidifies so many of his like little signatures and stuff like that. It's just,
I feel Terrifier 1 is all about Art the Clown.
totally.
Terrifier 2 is about Sienna and her brother.
Jonathan, yeah. You're not wrong.
Like the family.
I'd go with that.
The whole family, because like...
The dad.
Yeah, the dad. Let's reel it back. So the dad was the one who first saw Art the Clown in that
Who
family.
envisioned them, right?
Right.
And it seems that Art the Clown can kind of like project himself into like the minds of artists,
Yeah.
Yeah, because he does that.
like the hallucinations.
Yeah.
So if you're an artist, you're kind of vulnerable, like on a more of like supernatural level.
To Art.
Yeah. To
Which
your
is interesting.
yeah. Like his name is
I
Art.
see what you did there.
Yeah.
It's a play on words thing.
I never put that together.
So Art is known to put his name on the walls with different liquids of his own body. And,
He's an artist himself.
I'm glad we're talking about this.
He has to sign his pieces of work, you know what I mean? That's kind of one of the Art signatures, is he always has to sign his works of art, even if he's just using the restroom.
Definitely.
Even if it's, pee pee poo poo.
Poo-poo.
Honestly, from that first movie, the scene in the pizzeria, that's probably one of my favorite scenes. It's just got a little bit of everything.
So stop there. Question. What is your favorite scenes, guys?
Well, I just said it. I got a couple, but I think for the first one is definitely the pizzeria one. What about you, babe?
I like it. I like it when he's messing around with the little girl clown, and they're playing games that only they find entertaining. Like any moment when she's there, and I do like when he lights the banjo playing chick on fire.
Oh, into yeah.
In the clown cafe.
That is hilarious.
And she just keeps on dancing, and that was really, really funny. Oh, and I like it when he just keeps on like beating Jonathan with the chains that have not with the chains that have like the sharp instruments attached to him. Just totally. He beats him, and then he walks away, and then he comes back and does it some more.
So I have
what
one.
about you?
I have 1 and 2, right? So for number 1, obviously that kill of like the girl upside down, tied on her ankles, getting chopped up from basically the middle of her legs all the way down to her head. That's gnarly. She's getting sawed down. For the second one, I love the part where Art the Clown's at that costume store and he's just changing glasses and just like...
That was funny.
It's hilarious.
That was funny. Speaking of that one, go ahead, Nick. Go ahead.
What about you, babe?
I see what you did there.
We each got our babes.
I know we're sharing a
Our
microphone,
babes. I got to apologize. Due to technical errors, we're sharing mics. So yeah, we're joking about it. Leave us alone. We'll fix it next.
We're fine.
We'll fix it next time.
Fine.
We're comfortable.
Everything's working great.
We like it this way.
You know, just like I'd say, so one from each one, right? So number 1, it's towards the end where Art's eating Victoria's face, and then the cops show up, and he rolls his eyes, and he's just like, oh, fuck. He's all pissed, and he pulls out the gun and then kills himself. And then part 2 is when, he's dismantling that chick in her bedroom, and then the mom walks in, and she's freaking out, and Art's just like...
Yeah, he's loving it. He's doing the whole silent laughing thing. Cracks me up.
And then she like opens her eye because she's still alive.
That was definitely the most iconic kill in that one.
Sure,
That's gnarly.
Yeah.
so bad.
Another scene I was kind of cracking up at, and I don't know if I should have been cracking up at it, but I don't know why. The end of the first one where he actually what's her name? He kills Tara, I think, at the very end, but he uses a gun. He just pulls a gun out of nowhere.
He's holding it in
the
back.
Like she's kind of kicking his ass, and it's like, oh, the story's turning around, okay. And then he's just like, psych, bam, blast her, and then just unloads the clip on her face, dude. It's like, what the heck? It was like comical, so gory. It was comical. That one, I don't know why it got me. And then also, sorry, last one.
No,
I don't want to just... But the other thing we were laughing about in Terrifier 2, you were talking about the shop where he was trying on the glasses. I also thought it was super funny where he was creeping up on her with the horn. Oh, yeah. And then finally gets to her and he's like...
Don't.
And it has this...
She says,
yeah,
don't do
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
She said something, don't, or don't do it.
And then he finally...
Please don't.
Yeah, and then he finally does it, and it's this loud stab in the music score, too. So it's just like... Wonk! It's just so, startling and so silly at the same time. I love it. So... I don't know. These movies just straddle the line between like horrific, hyper violence, and to me, there's always a strong sense of like humor in it, and maybe that's why I like horror so much, is because oftentimes in some of these these really over the top movies, to me, I can clearly see that it's not real, even though the director does a great job. Believe it or not, this is the director that does most of these practical special effects, which is insane. But yeah, it's just borderline comedy to me, and I think those two genres always went really well together. Comedy and horror to me, it's just like there's so many cool things that they share in common,
Yeah, I think I'm excited to watch Terrifier 3. I know it just came out. We still haven't got a chance to watch it, but I'm super excited for it. I hear a lot of good things about it, and honestly, like it's gonna be one of those movies, especially it's like gonna be Halloween or Christmas based, so it's like even cooler. It gives it a whole different like perspective, because it's like, Terrifier, Art the Clown coming out on Halloween every year, and now this is going to be a Christmas based, so it's going to be a different perspective of what they could actually do with the Art the Clown character, and I'm all in for it,
Yeah, I'm super curious about it too, because it seems that he's like a vehicle for violence, and it's like he doesn't know where he's going to show up next. But so far, it's always been on Halloween. And is he going to be surprised? Are we going to see Art the Clown get surprised that when he shows up for us on Christmas?
Yeah.
Like, is he going to
I
be...
didn't even think of that.
Is he going to be Santa and he's going to be like, wow, I'm Santa? Like, let's do this thing.
Totally.
So I'm pretty excited about it because it's just going to be really creative, like no matter what.
Any more last inputs on Art the Clown?
Don't they have him in the trailer, like playing a mall Santa?
Yeah.
Like, I really want to see like how far, like if that's just like a 1 day thing, or if he does that for like a whole year. Like the first one, he was hiding out for a year, you know? He was like deep cover.
Well, we already know that he does kill children.
Yeah, he don't care. And a part
kills them
4's
all.
coming too now.
Yeah, I hear
The people have spoken, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, it's going to get darker, and I hope it gets darker and darker and crazier and crazier. And these are the kind of horror movies that I like. I like fun, gory, unexpected movies, right?
Yeah.
With crazy kills. And honestly, like, all his kills have been insane. They've been super fun to watch. And, yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate the director for kind of keeping it indie too, because instead of, he could easily, it's become such a quick cult classic. I appreciate that he's keeping it close to his vest, because he's like, no, I want to put out the idea that I want to do it.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to get it, he doesn't want the
Studio
MPAA
won't
rating.
allow that,
He doesn't want to
yeah.
cut out scenes. The second he found out someone wanted to cut out one of his scenes, I think in the second one they wanted to cut out the, I think it was the scene, the famous torture scene when she's upstairs in the bed.
In the bedroom?
I think they wanted to take that out, and he was just like, I think that's like one of the most iconic scenes in the movie. Like, I can't take that out.
Leave that in.
So it's like, I appreciate that he believes in his craft and he believes in his like art. I think that's cool. Art, but
No pun intended. Well, one more thing on that too. It's kind of like what you touched on the last episode about how like Halloween and horror like has a resurgence. It's so true with Terrifier too, because it had a limited run in the theaters, right? And you're right, like the whole thing is financed by him. That's why he can get away with all that shit, Damien Leone. And they did a limited run in the theaters, and it did so well because people were seeing it. And they're like, all right, let's keep doing it. And then they had that AMC special horror, like AMC sponsored fucking Terrifier too, and it made like 10 million in the theater or something, like 3,900% of budget. Like it was.
I was just about to try to look that up, but it went sick.
Yeah, they're like, oh man, okay, well this guy just told us to fuck off. He's doing what he wants, and look what he did. Shit, we were wrong. And now there's gonna be a fourth one. It's
$250,000 budget. This is for the second
Oh.
one, and it made $15.7 million.
oh, I was wrong. It
Insane.
made more money.
It's insane. Well, the first one, I was reading up on the first one too. He was saying it was only made for $50,000, which, I mean, if you think about it, is like, man, some of those effects look like it costs more than that. That's all practical.
Yeah.
So
Honestly,
paying all the
we're
crew
talking
and everything.
about the movies, but all the like, we're talking about the movies right now, but you got to think about how crazy is the merchandise. Like, they have so much merchandise,
Yeah.
especially right now.
It's
If you go
popping
to,
up everywhere.
dude, you go to Spirit store, dude,
Spencer's.
everything, Spencer's, yeah. But Spirit right now, they have every single costume you could want, like all the shirts, everything, man. And it's like, damn, they're really making money off of Terrifier, and I think it's only gonna get bigger. It's only gonna get more like cold classic-y, and yeah, man, it's super fun.
Hell yeah.
Love it.
All right, so yeah, that was the Terrifier. Is there anything else we want to talk about? Is maybe the Halloween Horror Nights?
Yeah.
So yeah, we went. We got fast passes. That's kind of the only way to do it, in our opinion, because waiting in line is for the birds.
100%.
It's yeah. So we always wind up getting the fast passes. This year was really cool. I think there were quite a few houses that were new. I think Universal does a good job of, I think, making them new every year. So I don't know. What was your favorite one, Hill?
I think that, like, for fun factor, it was probably the Ghostbusters Frozen Empire one that I liked the
that
most
one was
because, okay, I haven't even seen the movie, but now I really want to because the haunted house was really, really cool. And it had a lot of, like, throwback moments. So I'm hoping that the movie is just as
You
fun.
like Slimer spitting on you?
I did not like
yeah.
Slimer spitting on us.
That was so
But
gross.
there was a part where the whole room smelled like marshmallows, and it was really cool.
Oh yeah, for the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
That is something that I like about like the houses now. They utilize like different scents to really make you feel transported.
Like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre one?
Okay,
Vomit?
So, like, the one that I like for scare value was definitely Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but it smelled like ass.
That wasn't an effect. That was vomit.
Yeah, I think that was
Somebody
legit
just,
just someone puked in there for sure. Art
Disgusting.
was hanging out in there.
Right in his
Paolo.
Oh, my favorite one? Honestly, the Texas Chainsaw, except for the smells, I really, really liked it. The smells, and I think Nora brought this up. She was like, it was so cool to look at, but you didn't want to hang out in the room because it smelled so bad. So you're just trying to get to the next room, and you're like, get me out of here. But as far as just getting scared, the first one we did was they had A Quiet Place, a haunted house, and that one was surprisingly good. There was a lot of good creatures that were created for that house, a lot of good scare opportunities, and that one for some reason it was the first house we did, and I got spooked left and right on that one. It was fun. What about you, Nick?
Oh man, I'm with Hillary on the funnest one being the Ghostbusters one.
Ghostbusters
That
were cool.
Marshmallow room was dope. That was nice. That was cool. As far as like favorite house for how scary it was a toss up, man, between Texas Chainsaw and the Weekend Nightmare Trilogy. And I'm gonna have to go with the Weekend Nightmare Trilogy. I really liked how like he had super nice shit. Like it's supposed to be like his bathroom or a nightclub or like, you know, a business office, and then something terrible is happening in like the next room.
Yeah.
Getting split in half on that saw or turning into a bug. It
Oh
was fun.
yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I got a whole new shout out to the Weekend.
Yeah.
And
He's had a couple good ones.
It utilized like a classic haunted house environment, the mirror room.
Yeah.
The mirror room.
Dang.
Man.
I
You
forgot
can't
about
beat
that
a mirror
Likewise.
room.
I think for myself was The Weekend. That was my favorite house, alongside with the Insidious house. I really like that one as well. Both of those houses are like tied at number one for me.
Yeah, they were good.
They were both really fun, and that mirror room was really dope. But right after that mirror room, there was like one with like kind of like sheets, and there was this guy on stilts, and it was very, very cool scene.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that, and I thought it was very, very cool. And Insidious, it was like the red door and the demon, so all that stuff was very familiar. So it was very cool to see that like in person.
Yeah,
you know.
totally.
So I'm like, oh yeah, it reminded me exactly of the movie, and I think that's what made it even funner, because I was connected to that. I recently watched Insidious again, and I was just like, just seeing this, so it's cool to just see it right in front of me. But there is a lot of the houses were really cool. You know, this year I feel even like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and the one that people are saying that wasn't that. I mean, we said it between all of us. We're saying that the Universal the Eternal Bloodlines wasn't that good.
Yeah,
it was actually like some of the characters might have been cool, but the story plot and the scares were whack. You know, like I did not enjoy them at all. But we did do the Monstruos number 2 or whatever, the Latin American Nightmares or whatever. That one was okay. Really cool scene. They had the Kukui, which is the boogeyman. There was a bed and then big old hands coming from underneath.
Oh yeah, that was
that
cool.
was such a cool scene. I was like, I love this shit.
Yeah, that was really cool. Yeah.
They had a bag of body parts too, like they were like little body parts, like a kid.
So right after that, you walk out into the scare zone, and it was bunch of like luchadores, right? Like lucha libre guys. Like it was like a bunch of like Mexican Spanish wrestlers, and it was like they're just walking around, and there's like wrestling rings and stuff, and I thought that was very, very cool.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, they did it up pretty well. I mean, they always do a good job of really going all out for it. The Purge Terror Tram I thought was really cool.
That was
too.
really cool.
That was
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
We got to. It's always fun because the tram takes you. You know, they modify the tram tour, and it always takes you to this other part of the lot, and so where it dropped you off this time, it looked like it was just a bunch of people waiting for the purge. They all had weapons in their hands, and they were all just ready to greet all the people that were coming off the tram. You know, people were starting up chainsaws, and you know, we saw a girl fall. We said that lady ate shit. That sucked.
You saw that too?
Yeah,
You stepped
it got
over her.
real,
You
dude.
kept
Yeah, I
going.
just
You're like,
stepped
"See ya."
over her. We're like, sorry, lady.
Yeah, it wasn't just a Purge themed Terror Tram. It was Blumhouse.
Yeah, it was Blumhouse. So they also
Oh,
had like
you're right.
they'll have that
My
vegan
bad.
girl or whatever.
The black phone,
Black phone, that was
guy.
really
That's
cool.
right. I forgot. Good call. Thank you.
And like when you get off the tram, like all of these Blumhouse characters are lined up in front of you. Like you have to walk through them, but they all suddenly have chainsaws, and then they come at you.
Yeah, that was cool.
It was a really strong
So
start.
little bummer scenario, right? So little story. So I mean, I had so much fun in Universal, but a weekend before Universal, I went to Six Flags in New Jersey with a couple of friends. I went to go do a jiu-jitsu seminar out there, but we went and I was like super excited because they were supposed to have a bunch of houses, like cool IPs and stuff like that. And I had a good time because I was with a good crew, right? Like everybody was super nice. Like all the guys from New Jersey were super friendly, and it was, I had a great time with them. But every single house, there were supposed to be, I think, like 8 or 9 houses. All of them were closed except for 2. I was like, what the heck?
Yeah.
So I did a couple rides, and I didn't know that the houses were closed. So when we would pass them, they'd just be like, not open, not open, not open. So I ended up doing 2 houses. One of them was, what was it? One of them was like a circus style house, and it was really cool actually. Like I really liked it. You had 3D glasses, or like kind of kaleidoscope glasses. So everything looked kind of trippy. So when everything, there's paintings all over the place, and when like people would jump out, you didn't know if there were paintings or not. That was very, very cool. That was a cool house. And then we would go to the other house and it's empty. I mean, it's just closed. But some of the rides there were really cool. I haven't been to a Six Flags in years, and the one in New Jersey, of course, never. So it was my first time for that. So I had a lot of fun. But then we were walking out, and because it was like 10:30, and for some reason they were closing everything early. It was supposed to close like at midnight or something, and everything was getting closed, and we're like, what is going on? So then we ended up passing this house, and we asked her, like, is this house even open? They're like, yeah, we're about to close it soon, basically. And we're like, okay, let's go. So it was like 5-minute wait, thank God. And then we ended up doing it, and it was a witch house, and they also had a mirror, but it wasn't like the same kind of mirror. There was like a mirror maze, so it's like you don't know where the person's at.
That's so
And there was like
That's so cool.
so there was a witch sitting down on her knees, and it was kind of like the kind of like I would say, what's that Marvel chick? Scarlet Witch.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Scarlet Witch, and she was all dressed up, kind of like the evil version of her, and she was just sitting down, and then she like come up, but you couldn't see where she was at. You didn't know she was in front of you, to the side of you, behind you, because there were so many mirrors. It was very cool. But that one, the crappy part about it was like only like a 2-3 minute walkthrough. Like it wasn't very long, but it was cool to be able to do those 2 houses. On the good note, they refunded my money. It was cool. So I did like 2 houses and like 4 roller coasters for free, which was not a bad deal. But it was just bummed out because they had like the Saw house, they have the Texas Chainsaw Massacre house, they had a bunch of houses, and I was like, oh man, I can't wait to do them all. They were all closed, so I was bummed out.
Yeah, for sure.
Good trip overall, though.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I was gonna say, do you guys watch much wrestling? No.
I used to back in the Attitude Era.
So yeah, I was gonna ask you guys, do you guys have any memories? So in wrestling's just storylines, right? But they have a lot of like dark entities, and it kind of reminded me of like when we went to the Halloween Horror Nights, right? So they have a lot of different groups and a lot of different styles of like wrestling style, but it's like The Undertaker, right? Kane, Mankind, all these are kind of like horror-ish kind of like characters, and I just want to see if you guys remembered any of them or anything like that.
Oh yeah, I was all about Kane. I loved Kane. I was a big Kane dude. I always liked his entrances and his music, and his chokeslam was sick. I was always chokeslamming my brothers. that was Kane was dope. I remember Gangrel, dude. Remember Gangrel?
So yeah, so the Brood,
the Brood, dude.
yeah,
Little
the Brood was
spooky boys,
awesome.
bunch of vamps.
Yeah, it was Vamps, and it was basically like Edge, Christian, and Gangrel, and it had a group called the Brood. That was awesome.
them.
They had the Brood bath, and it's like they would be sitting, and it was like blood would come up from the sky, almost like Carrie style. It was very, very sick.
That was cool. I remember them. I was big on Kane. I'm trying to remember who else. Undertaker, of course. Undertaker's always been spooky.
So throughout the years, there's been like more and more. And like I'm big on wrestling, like I was saying. But you also have like the who is it? The Fiend. I don't know if you guys ever heard of the Fiend.
Oh, you're telling me about
He's
the
very,
Fiend,
very
yeah.
dope. Yeah. I mean, rest in peace. He died like a year and a half ago. But they had the Wyatt family, and it's basically like kind of like the swamp guys, you know what I'm saying? Like they live in the swamp, but they were like super cold, like cultish, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like they follow basically Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt they had a good like team like bonding scenario, right? They just like look so good together. Like he would come out in his rocking chair and they're just standing behind him, all like kind of like swamp like kind of guys.
Oh, that's
you know?
cool.
Yeah, and then of course that team broke up eventually, and then Bray Wyatt became the Fiend, right? And it's like the Fiend became like this evil creature that was like nobody could beat, and then they kind of like jobbed him out, you know what I'm saying? Basically, like they made him like lose to like people that he shouldn't have lost to and stuff like that. But there was a big old mystique with him, and ended up being like he was about to do this crazy like thing with his brother, and a whole new group called the Wyatt Six, which is still going on right now. But he ended up dying, so they ended up stopping it for a long time, and then his brother's doing it right now, which is like, if you guys do like wrestling or ever like wrestling, it's definitely like a good story to follow. Also on AEW, they have a whole different like, you know, wrestling league or whatever, and they have the House of Black, you know what I'm saying? And they're sick, you know what I'm saying? Like I love those characters. They have Malachi Black, you know what I'm saying? And he's amazing. He's one of my favorite wrestlers for sure. They have Brody. They have who else is it? Buddy. I don't know if they call him Buddy. They used to call him Buddy in WWE. But man, I love being able to like see horror characters in wrestling. It makes it so exciting. Like you could literally find horror anywhere.
Yeah.
That's fucking cool.
Totally. No, especially in today's day and age. It's you know, video games, movies, all kinds of forms of entertainment. I think people are always down to get scared. I think that's a feeling that humans, I mean, not all humans, but some humans, you know, especially us, you know, we crave that stuff. I think it's, you know, it kind of lets you know that, you know, you're alive, getting scared.
100%.
But yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about? Should we advance to the old paper rock scissors?
Yeah. So I think that's gonna wrap it up a little bit for today. But we are gonna play rock paper scissors. Whoever wins rock paper scissors will be able to pick the movie that we'll be watching next week or in 2 weeks. So we're gonna go at it. Do you guys want to rock paper scissors the same way? You two and then us two?
Yeah, let's just do that.
Okay.
I think that should work.
All right, let's do this.
We're going to go first? All right. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, you cheated.
But
you still lost.
Let's do it again.
All right.
On 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right. Go ahead, guys. It was me.
All right, you ready?
Let's do it.
Nick ended up winning last week.
Nick won last time. He chose Terrifier this time.
All right. Damn it.
Woo! So now me and
I'm
Nick.
a sucker.
Okay.
All right. Nick's got another one. What you got, Nick? What you got?
Nick.
All right, so Nick is choosing what we're going to be talking about on our next episode. So we're going to kick it on over to Nick. Nick, what do we got?
90s Japanese horror. We'll do Audition.
Yo!
Audition.
All right. Cool. Good
So-
selection.
Before we go, I actually wanted to give a hold on real quick. I wanted to give a shout out to my boy. He ended up doing this match for me.
Oh, heck yeah.
He ended up making this mask. One of my good friends, Nick Schneider, made this mask for me, and it's basically like a uni version of myself.
That's super
Pretty dope.
sick, dude. He's really talented.
Yeah,
Nick don't play with that stuff.
Yeah, he makes some really cool masks, and he's been doing it for a while now, and he ended up making this one for me, and I just want to give him a shout out for making this dope ass mask. It definitely represents me perfectly.
Heck yeah.
Looks like he was perfect.
Yeah, shout out, Nick.
Yo. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We're signing off. Please like and subscribe on the YouTube if you can. Help the algorithm out. We'll see you guys in a couple weeks with the audition. All right. Have a good one, guys. Laters.
Bye.